Grab your beverages and turn up your interweb. Solving the world's problems 12 ounces at a time. It's Dudes and Beer. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 145 of the Dudes and Beer podcast, coming to you live from fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. I am Chris Jordan, your host. With me tonight is Matthew McPeak, Maurice McCoy, and Shannon. I'm sorry, Shannon, Kathy. I just blanked on your last name. I am here in Vegas on a show. We'll probably have a couple more people joining us throughout the show. But as I was here, I was wondering what to do the show about, and I realized that, number one, we had not done anything about the government disclosure of UFOs and things like that over Christmas, even though we've been posting articles about it like bi-weekly on the regs about it. More stuff is coming out. So I'm kind of tying that in with the whole concept of government disclosure to begin with, and the horrible, horrible massacre at Mandalay Bay. We did an episode whenever Mandalay Bay happened, and I tried to get a hold of some people that I knew that were boots on the ground doing a show at Mandalay Bay. They were, of course, on lockdown, all kinds of stuff. But we had Michael Cargill on from Central Texas Gun Works talking about the concept of bump stocks and gun control and the gun laws here in Vegas, things like that. Let's just kind of go around the table, especially to Maurice and Shannon. How long have you guys lived here in Vegas, and what brought y'all here? Let's go ahead and start with you, Shannon, since you were technically the guest of honor on the show this evening.
I've been here about 11 years here in Vegas. And,
what brought you here?
A friend of mine asked me to come move out here, so I checked it out and I liked it, so I moved. And nice. There's a lot my kind of work out here, you know.
Yeah. I mean, for us AV guys, it's spit in the wind and find a gig almost. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So, and you're an audio engineer by trade.
Correct?
Yeah.
Because I also lived in Nashville before here, doing studio work.
Yeah. You were saying that earlier while we were talking. Yeah. You do a lot of that work out here, or mainly the live stuff?
Just live.
Just live. Yeah. It seems like there's much more like. You can't have a property and not have a show at night.
That's right.
You know, like it just doesn't exist. Like there's during conference season, like every property has a conference going on simultaneously. Now, Maurice here has actually been on my Talking Sound podcast. This is his first time on Dudes and Beer, so welcome.
Thank you very much,
old friend. Tell this audience anyway a little bit about yourself, where you come from, how you came to live here in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada.
Well, I'm a TV producer / production guy. By trade, I'm a cameraman. Work for NBC in LA. Director of the dispersal units. And what brought my family here to Vegas back in the 70s? My mom and dad decided to retire. We were living in Simi Valley, and we were living in Simi Valley in '76, and they wanted to retire to a nice location. So my family was the first family to move to Vegas and establish, because my father always used to like to come out to Vegas and take my mom, and they had a great time. So they always had good times here in Vegas, so they decided to relocate to Vegas.
Yep.
Mom retired at 36.
Nice.
Father retired at 34.
Wow.
So there they go.
Mom is a cradle robber.
Oh, man. Just a little bit, She was the smarter out of the two. So my mom and all of us relocated here, like I said again, from Simi Valley. And that's California, where the Reagan Library is.
Yeah.
And my father got bored, and my mom had my aunt, his sister, move out here, and so my mom took her over to Nevada Power to get her a job. Well, they were more interested in my mother's background because she's electrical engineer.
Oh, wow, okay.
She worked for Litton and did the first panels for the first space shuttle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Wow, that's huge, dude.
Yeah. So
crazy.
So my father, like I said, he got bored, and so he was taught as a young kid to wax cars, and so use a buffer and make things shine. So him and my mom concocted an idea to put together a detail shop.
Yep.
And so with that, we became one of the most famous detail shops in Vegas, and we established, if anybody knows, the Imperial Palace Auto Collection, which is world renowned.
Yeah.
And so
cars like Liberace's vehicles,
all of that.
Elvis,
nice guy,
all
by
that
the way.
kind of stuff. Yeah, I know.
Nice guy.
I remember on Talking Sound, you said that you'd met him numerous times, and
tipped very well.
Yeah,
I had no problems. Man, I had no problems with Liv.
You can afford that many chandeliers. You can, like, if I'm not mistaken, he had a car with a chandelier in it.
Yes, the Rolls Royce that we had at our shop.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And Matt, what brings you out here to Vegas?
Well, I'm here working with you guys for the company that I'm full time with.
Yeah,
doing the corporate thing, and glad as hell because I get to hang out with these awesome people that I don't get to see ever. So
yeah. Absolutely. And you know, with our first topic, just the general topic of government disclosure, it's odd to me how things become disclosed. Even with the JFK dump, all that kind of stuff, there was so much other information that was inside of that. Like the fact that they were actively hunting for Hitler in South America. Like that's been theorized for years that the FBI was hunting for Hitler in South America, and it became declassified with the JFK documents that was actively happening.
Well, my thing is, if they were looking for him, I think they found him, and because they gave all of those
FBI always finds their man.
Yeah, they gave all of those defecting scientists gigs.
Project Paperclip. Project
here
Paperclip
in the United States. Gave them immunity, and you're going to work for us. Here's the pay. This is where we're going to live.
Without one of those dudes, your mom wouldn't have had a job building space shuttle panels.
Exactly.
Straight up. Thank you, Werner von Braun.
Yeah, right.
And you know, it's interesting because Project Paperclip wasn't even disclosed until like the 60s.
Correct.
Something like that, 60s, 70s. And you know, when you're looking at stuff like the recent disclosure by the Pentagon, which was just, I think, a soft disclosure. I think they've been in a state of it for a while. I know one of my first trips here, I posted, we had just done an article or an episode, and I was talking about how I predicted in the next 3 to 5 years disclosure would begin coming about. And within a week, it was like, oh, FBI releases all these unknown X-Files. You know, and it just, and it's been a roll since then for like the last 2.5 years where this kind of stuff happens. And right at Christmas, the Pentagon literally came out and said, yes, for the last 10 years, we've spent $1.4 trillion investigating aerial phenomenon over American airspace. Now, that's either American airspace here in the States. Remember, our airspace goes out for about 100 miles from our coastline. That's also American airspace over military bases worldwide. So, and not only that, but like 3 Navy pilots came out with cockpit footage of them chasing stuff. So it's like, it's undeniable that what they're chasing is something that we don't know what the hell it is, but they just kind of release it. You know?
The thing is that, remember that movie, The Battle of L.A.? They said it really happened.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Real.
It did happen. Oh, Dean Larinago, one of our regular listeners, has just chimed in. So he didn't kill himself with the cyanide pill. We don't know if Hitler actually killed himself with the cyanide pill.
Yeah.
He had like 8 or 9 duplicates.
Exactly.
Like the man literally had like 8 or 9 lookalikes.
Yeah.
So like sometimes speeches would be delivered by a lookalike.
Exactly.
You know, like Saddam Hussein did the same thing.
He did the same thing. Exactly.
You know, Osama bin Laden, same thing. You know, like half the time we were trying to find him, we were following a dummy. You know, and it's odd to me. Even here recently, if any of your family's looking for work, Janet Airlines, right out of McCarran Airport, one of the only government, or not government funded, but top secret private airlines in the world. If you're ever at McCarran Airport, you'll rarely see them. They take off at like dawn. They come back late at night. But they're all white airplanes with no markings, no windows.
One marking.
One marking, a red stripe.
Yep.
A red stripe down each side and painted white windows. Like the people inside don't even know where they're, like how they're getting to work.
You know that those flights happen all the time.
Oh,
those planes come in all through the afternoon. I'm like,
well, I mean, it's morning shift, swing shift, graveyard shift. Like at least 6 times a day, they're coming in and out
of Area 51.
You know,
I've seen them
Area 51 and other bases surrounding the area. Because don't forget, Los Alamos is right down the road. It ain't too far off in New Mexico. Stuff like that. And even for a top secret private airline to be putting an ad out in the Las Vegas Journal to be like, hey guys, we're hiring flight attendants.
Wow. Maybe it goes to what you were talking about with soft disclosure. That's another way to ease into the concept. Of,
I'll give you
to normalize it.
I'll give you even better
normalize the idea. Go ahead.
When the advertisement happened in November for the national government looking for the space, the world, the space protectors,
the space defenders,
space defenders. Unbelievable. $100,000 for this person to defend the world. The world.
Well,
from other entities beyond this world.
The Space Defense Council.
Unbelievable. And my thing is, they say we have 2 space programs. The one that we know about
and the one that we don't.
Yeah.
And I own the Space Shuttle Operator's Manual, and it tells you straight up inside of there that like 70% of the time you do not get your instructions until you're in orbit. Most of the trips that the shuttle made were classified via DoD because they'd be up there working on a satellite for the CIA or something like that. And all it was routine satellite repair. They're going up to repair a satellite. Routine stuff. But it was like military satellites, like the satellites that we use to detect like nuclear blasts, that kind of stuff. So with that kind of disclosure, with that kind of thought process, even like Matt was just saying, it's hard not to see it as a kind of soft disclosure, and like I said, a type of normalizing. And we in America have become to be normalized to the mass shooting now. We've come to be normalized to it, to the fact that we're probably going to see one in the news every couple months, whether it's some guy at an office, like the UPS guy. And if you remember, like all this stuff really started back in the early 90s when the guy, quote unquote, went postal. Like when the term going postal went out, like the guy was having a bad time at the post office and came back with his gun and started shooting the place up.
That was in Laguna Niguel.
It sure was.
I lived right down the street from that area. I worked at that.
Oh, wow.
I worked there.
Wow.
Not during that time.
From that time,
after, like 4 years later.
Now, with things like Ruby Ridge, with things like Waco, with all that kind of stuff, we've truly become normalized as a society to situations like this, to government intervening in situations. And let's see, Dean's chimed in a couple times here. Stephen Bishop, hey Steve-O, how you doing? Our co-host is listening live in Austin. He was like, the Battle of LA was definitely real. I watched 2 interviews from witnesses on a show last night. Battle of LA, hope it didn't happen exactly like that. Was the comments. But it was true. Like the Battle of LA, it happened in World War II. There were defenses all over all coasts of America, even in Texas where I'm from, because Texas and the Gulf of Mexico is where most of the oil refining takes place. So we are like strategic targets.
And there was plenty of German U-boats down there too.
Oh yeah. Not just there, like off the Atlantic coast. Like they were found in the Port of Maine, like in the Portland Harbor.
Well, and
because
Japan used to send out balloons, remember?
Yeah, no, and that's just it. They used to send out balloons that 90% of them got so high that the fuses froze and they never ever worked. They landed, they were duds. And that's what they thought it might have been. Of course, it was after Pearl Harbor, all that kind of stuff. But all they knew was that there was something over Los Angeles, and they had no idea what it was. It answered to no hailing frequencies.
And they shot at it, and they couldn't bring it.
They didn't just shoot at it. They shot at it for like a couple hours.
Yeah.
Like steady barrage with like any aircraft, like everything but missiles, because we didn't really have missile defense systems. But it did nothing. It did nothing. The thing just eventually moved off.
Yep.
And did its thing. And, getting into the main topic of the night, the Mandalay Bay shooting. Like I said, we've been normalized to these conditions over the last many decades as Americans, to mass shootings. And that's kind of a horrible thing to know that we've been normalized to it. But all over the world, people are normalized to localized types of violence, whether it's terroristic attacks, suicide bombings, kidnappings to take your kidney, what have you. There's normalization to violence all over the world. But what's interesting with cases like the Pulse nightclub shooting, San Bernardino, and especially Mandalay Bay. Mandalay Bay, number one, is, as of this date, the largest mass shooting in U.S. history. There were 7 dead, 57 wounded, if I'm not mistaken, something like that.
No, 500, over 500 wounded.
Was it 500 wounded?
Yeah, 500 wounded, 57.
Oh, okay. 57 dead is what it was.
58.
Yeah.
58
and,
dead.
That's what I want to kind of get into for a minute, is...
yeah, don't count.
Some of the theories that have come about, because there have been a lot of theories. Number one, I hear from a lot of people like, how the hell did that guy get all them guns up to his hotel room? And I'm like, quite obviously, you have never been to a hotel in Vegas. Number one, we typically do a show here. Ken Dewar has joined the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. He's been on the show before. But we've done shows here before right up against SHOT Show. And it's like, hey, you're in the elevator with people like bringing down 2 gun cases.
Yeah.
Like, you can act. I don't know. Has the law changed? Can you still open carry in a casino?
I don't know.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh.
When I checked at the time of the shooting, you still could.
I mean, as far as Nevada's concerned, they have open carry laws.
Yeah.
But each casino is starting their own policy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure
it's changing.
Yeah, I'm sure each property has their own rule and regulation, but the state law is that you could
even Disney in Florida is starting to do room checks. Even if you have your do not disturb sign.
That's
on,
right. They will come in
if you
anyway.
have your do not disturb sign on for more than 24 hours straight, they're coming in your room checking no matter what, whether you're screwing or drinking or sleeping.
They don't care. They don't care.
That's just the part of.
And you do have to kind
of what happened.
Right? Sure.
And then also, I mean, back to your original question at the Mandalay Bay. If you look, I didn't notice it at the time because I was oblivious to it. But then I saw a picture taken the morning after, and you could see a billboard in front of Mandalay Bay, and it says "Gun Show."
Yeah.
October.
Yeah. It was like the following weekend.
7th or 5th through 7th.
Yeah, it was like the following weekend. Man.
So I mean, really, they could have thought, "Hey, he's bringing in guns for the gun show."
They don't talk about that.
Not just that, but hey,
good observation.
Hey, man, like most of the guns that he had were breakdownable. Like you could easily, none of them would have weighed.
Chris,
none of them would have weighed over 60 pounds conglomerate. Yep. We can, everyone in this room can lift 60 pounds over our head because that's our job. So if you got a rolling suitcase, it ain't nothing to throw in some clothes to mute it and just roll your stuff right on up.
You know how much weird crap I've rolled into my hotel room over the last 20
You know how much weird crap I have in this hotel room right now? But, there are questions like that are very easily answered. But what sticks in my mind as someone who worked in news, as someone who did investigative journalism and dug for facts, is this guy was a fixture at casinos here in town.
Right.
Regular, high roll regular, like between $20,000 and $30,000 a weekend.
Yeah.
Regular.
I mean, on a comedic note, I mean, what kind of guy sits there and plays high limit freaking video poker? I mean, something's wrong with a guy. Obviously.
Go sit at a table.
Well, hey.
He obviously didn't like to interact with people, I suppose, even though.
And he never had any. Right? He never had any like violent behaviors.
No,
or
but
his father was a federal bank robber.
Yeah, he was on the FBI's most wanted.
He was on the FBI's most wanted.
His father was even on the America's Most Wanted at one point.
Yep.
You know, his family owned a very successful pool supply company that they sold.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he was involved in. He was actually, if you go a little bit deeper, he was actually an employee of Lockheed Martin in the Special Projects Division.
Special Projects Division.
So
interesting.
Right up near Skunk Works type shit.
Right.
You know.
I mean,
so
somebody's got to sell the land they use for Area 51. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, but he was a well-to-do guy. Lived out here in one of the higher class in Mesquite.
Yeah. Totally. Like they have one casino out there.
It's a different vibe out there.
Yeah.
And then they have the home in Reno.
Yeah.
You know, who knows what else he had? You know, what they haven't discovered.
And that's just it. It's not like he was someone that was dejected by society, and not like someone who had financial problems, was in debt, was prone to cracking. Yeah. You know,
that's
necessarily
really what sticks with me is that specific fact. Because, I mean, it kind of.
Just your average run-of-the-day low-grade millionaire.
Yeah, it blows your profiling image out of the water.
Totally out of the water.
Totally gone.
Totally.
I got all this money. I mean, I'm bored. I'm going to go shoot a bunch of people, or you know. I mean, there's tons of.
And he apparently tried to get access to a couple of other festivals.
Oh yeah,
Life is beautiful. I still lean towards the Manchurian Candidate theory. So.
Yeah, it was so
security is so tight there. And that's one of the theories that's out there is the Manchurian Candidate theory, is that he was deep state, that through his connections and everything else, he was programmed to carry this out. Yeah. Of course, another one is the fact of he was just a patsy. Because
what I believe.
He was an older guy, and I don't know if
the gun deal gone wrong.
I don't know if
I really don't.
No.
Yeah, right.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither. Especially due to the fact that
you don't bring that much ammo to your room because a gun deal is selling guns. They can get their own freaking ammo somewhere.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. But and even with that fact, he needs no gun deal to get all those guns. There is no limit to the number of guns you can buy in the state of Nevada. If you have $100,000, you could go in and buy the whole damn shop.
That's right.
And they got to reorder everything. You can walk out with every one of them.
Even in California, which has strict gun laws, you can go to a gun show and buy whatever. There's no freaking.
Right.
Oh yeah. Well, it's not just buy whatever. It's buy however many you want. Yeah. Like most of the time, like I live in Texas and we love our guns. I'm a gun owner. I got a couple pistols. I got a shotgun, stuff like that. But if you walk into Academy, you may be able to walk out with a rifle, a pistol, and a shotgun. But if you're going to try to buy like 6 rifles, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
It ain't happening. And then what happens is if you go, well, I'll just go to the next Academy. No. Because your shit's in the system now.
Exactly.
That you've purchased 3 guns, and once it comes up, it's like, sorry, buddy, you got to wait 10 days.
That's right.
You got to wait 10 days to purchase your next 3 firearms. But even that, one of the other theories was the fact that he wasn't even the shooter. Because it was, like a 6-minute, 10-minute long range.
Seems like forever.
Of straight fire.
And he probably could have shot even longer because it was taking him forever to figure out where he was. And
well, there's the theory that he was trying to shoot the fuel depot over at McCarran. And when that didn't happen, he turned his attention to the crowd below.
Well, I mean, the range that it was, he probably wasn't going to hit terminal velocity to do any damage to any kind of fuel chain.
Well, not only that, but it just doesn't work. It doesn't work the way it does in the movies, folks. You can't shoot a gas can and it blow up.
Yeah.
All right? And like if you're using an incendiary round, sure, it'll blow up all day. But even shooting it and then shooting it again like shooting it once to introduce oxygen, which is what makes gasoline flammable. Gasoline itself is not. And then shooting it again to it still doesn't do anything.
Right.
You know. So yeah, if you shoot the fuel tank of a car, it ain't blowing up, folks.
It's just going to leak out.
It's just going to leak out.
Yeah.
You know. But what was it like for y'all? Number one, what were y'all doing there? I mean, you were working, but what was your position? You know, what were you doing on property? And what were things like beforehand and during and after? Yours is the more incredible story. So I would like to save yours for last, if you don't mind. Go ahead, Maurice. Tell us what you were doing there at Mandalay Bay and what it was like on the ground for you from your point of view and your experience.
Yeah, my story is very simple. I was there doing camera op, because I'm a cameraman, and working for this company. And I had on my my comms, my headset.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we were on a little break, and so I wanted to go get some water. And I was sitting up on the platform, on my camera platform. So I saw people running kind of fast, but it was out of my peripheral.
Yeah.
And so I saw this guy ran, and he fell right down in front of my platform. So I was getting down off my platform, and I said, I'll just help him up. And so I got down off my platform, and then I went to lift him up, and I thought he would turn around to me. He didn't turn around, and then I saw blood just spurt out of his back, like a fountain. And I'm like, whoa. Man. So I immediately took my comms off, and then I hear all this pop, 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 pop. And then I see these people running towards me. So my instinct is to run the way that they're running.
Just faster.
Yeah. And so I ran towards the stage, and then I got to the corner of the stage, and I looked around. People was falling and screaming and hollering. And so I scaled a 20-foot wall like it was nothing.
I don't want to know how you know how to scale a 20-foot wall. But
I'm athletic. And I got over it, and we parked our cars at the Shell station that's adjacent across from the Mandalay. And so I just kept running that way, and then I got in my car, and I drove off. And I beat the cops before they closed off everything.
Yeah, because it was some fairly quick response time.
I think, it took, because the police station is right down the strip from Mandalay. It's like about another 3 blocks.
Yeah.
And they're there. So they responded very quickly because they were right there. They got that call, and they were there on that spot. But I beat them when I was pulling out. They were coming in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh. And I just went, I was leaving to Cleveland the next day. But I went to the airport, and, with Southwest, you can change your flight within 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I got the last flight leaving out.
Nice.
To L.A.
Yeah, that's a pretty harrowing experience to go through, and to be a part of that. What's it like for you now, even retelling the story and talking about it?
Well, people say, how did that make you feel? Now, I'm a kid from the inner city, kind of. So, we know when gunfire, we're accustomed to hearing gunfire, coming from Inglewood and stuff, too, And so, and my father being an Inglewood PD also. So, kind of accustomed to that. But my thing is, I didn't get hurt, thank God. I'm able to wake up to see another day.
Yeah.
And, I just feel sorry for the people that got caught, the ones that got hurt. And, of course, everybody feels, sadness for the ones that perish, and they're innocent bystanders.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, there's a lot of conversation about, what's going on about that. And, there's a lot of hush-hush going around now because, frankly, the state of Nevada really doesn't want to talk about that anymore.
No.
It kills business.
Totally kills business.
And it's not good. But
even with the hashtag Vegas Strong.
Yeah.
it kills business.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
People like, you know, you still have that.
What happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas.
Right.
No,
it goes on the internet, you know. And
until you pay me to take it off my server.
Right. The thing that I heard just recently from another friend of ours, Shannon and I's, is that the Saudi prince was in town.
He was.
And he was staying at the Tropicana.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the deal was to take him out, to have that as a distraction to get to him. But his security was immensely tight. And he has a home property here in Las Vegas.
Sure does.
And the funny thing about that is it's a no-fly zone. Nobody flies. And he owns like 10 homes in this one area. It's off of Durango and Tropicana. No fly zone over that house. Only one in Vegas.
I'll pay $100
The only
to
space in
somebody.
Vegas that's a no-fly.
Correct.
Wow.
Only space.
Yeah. Wild. And that was one of the many theories floating around, of course, was that it was an attempt on his life, and that was a distraction. Of course, there was the reports of multiple shooters, even over police scanners.
Right.
There was video of shooters on other floors.
Right. Our friend True let us know about that.
And were you able to get a hold of True?
No, we have to call him and see what he's.
Yeah. I was going to say, go ahead and give him a shout real quick.
Yeah.
See if we can get him on the line on speakerphone to tell his story, because True's like me. He's a scanner listener. I have scanners at my workbench, and frequently whenever I'm sitting there soldering and stuff like that, I'll either listen to the police scanner or I'll listen to like the airplanes taking off, something like that.
The news that evening even put the scanner live.
Yeah.
So I was still in town.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were in town also, Ken.
Yeah.
What were you in town for?
I moved from the show we did down to the MGM.
Yeah.
And I moved the day that it happened. I moved into that property. I took a walk to go get some drinks from the AMPM, which is right there by the, you know where that is, right on the corner. Mm-hmm. You take that little street in between the Hooters and the Hojo and stuff right there. And I was on my way walking back, and you hear shit everywhere in Vegas. You're out. I'm so immune. I used to work at Guitar Center, and people could be playing Stairway to Heaven to me, and I could still talk to people. So I'm oblivious to stuff around me at times. And I didn't know what the hell was going on around me until I saw a couple of people running past me. And I thought that was odd, because they weren't like just running to get somewhere. They were running to get away.
They were like running with intent.
Yeah.
Like not running to get their steps in.
And I was like, well, that's kind of odd. And then a couple more people run by. And then I was like, well, what the hell's going on? And I turn around, and there's literally a wall of people coming up that street, just, running out from the concert.
Wow.
And they were terrified. I mean, it was pandemonium. And people were saying, shooter, and at the moment, nobody knows where it's coming from. They didn't know it's coming from 32 or whatever it was.
37.
Yeah.
And, So I mean, and all of a sudden I'm just like terrified. I'm like, okay, shit, I'm in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Like I'm running. So I just take up with the crowd and running. And we passed Hooters. Some people peeled off the Hooters, but most everybody just.
I'd have probably run the Hooters for safety myself.
And then I was already staying at the MGM, so we all crossed the street, got to the MGM. This huge crowd of people, and we just stormed the MGM, and literally. Like people were like blocking the elevator doors. Everybody thought it was a shooter following them or something.
Yeah.
So it was. I had never been in a situation where it's pandemonium. I mean, you just get caught up in the situation. I'm seeing people with blood on them. This lady, we're on the elevator banks trying to get elevators, and people are just pushing around the elevator, and we got to push people off because it's overweight.
Yeah.
And the door closes when I get on the elevator, and this lady starts just bawling. And she says, she just said, "This is not my phone. This is my friend's phone, and my friend is dead." And I was,
man.
And me and another guy just kind of looked at each other and we're like, oh shit. And so we kind of consoled her and said, well, and she was staying at the MGM, so we took her to her room, and then we just said bye. You know, they were like, he wasn't staying at the MGM. He was like, where can I go? And I'm like, go to the stairwell and get out and go up the street if you want, or you can come to my room if you want. You know, he's like, no, I'm going to go do this. So I got back in the elevator, headed to my room, locked myself in, and turned on the news just to see what the hell was really going on. And I had a bunch of friends that were coming up for the show I was doing at the MGM from LA, and they're all drinking over at the Ellis Island during the whole thing. They didn't know what happened. So I'm trying to call them. I'm like, hey, don't come to the hotel right now. It's crazy. And then I turned on the news, and the news was pandemonium too.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the hell was going on.
No, that's for sure.
They're like showing. I mean, at that night, they said there was the multiple shooters. They were closing down the whole strip. Oh, there's shots fired by New York, shots fired in Mandalay Bay. You know, they didn't know exactly what.
Aria, everything.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
And then for like an hour and a half in my hotel room, just random groups of people every once in a while are taking off. And then they had held most of the crowd that got stuck in the MGM over in the convention center. They funneled them all over to the convention center and put them in a room and posted security around them until they knew what the heck was going on, and they released them to go later on in the evening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But what the thing that stuck with me the most that evening, I mean, yeah, that was all pretty scary. But so after an hour and a half, I felt a little safer once I heard they had killed a shooter. So I went back down to the bottom just to kind of walk around and kind of assess what was going on. And it was weird because you could see people just crying. MGM was great because there was a bunch of people that were stuck at the MGM, they had nowhere to go. They brought pillows and blankets, let them sleep at the machines, and bars. Wow. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But then there was groups of people still drinking, gambling.
Just like Vegas in it up.
Like nothing ever happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, if that's not a statement as to our society in America now,
in all fairness,
I don't
not
know
everybody
what it is.
Knew it happened.
Well,
you know, at that moment.
Yeah, but if you're sitting there gambling and suddenly the place that you're in becomes a fucking shelter,
you know,
it's one thing if you see a homeless guy come in with a pillow and lay down. That's like every fucking day in Vegas, all right?
Come on, 5 of a kind.
Yeah.
Shit.
You know,
I was like, and then I was just like,
maybe need some new shoes.
And then I go to work the next day, and I'm like thinking, well, this is
crazy, man.
This is ridiculous. They're going to cancel this show. Nobody's going to want to hurt.
No,
I can't believe they.
And I go back. I go to work the next day at 7 a.m. and they're just like, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it with anybody. I'm like, there's no way. I cannot
talk about it.
You know. At the time they were saying 60 people. I was like, dude, all these people just got killed right across the street.
Yeah.
You don't talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I've never done that in my entire life where I quit a show. And I literally...
Oh, yeah.
I got a replacement for me, and I went home that night because obviously my wife and my kids were kind of worried. They had heard about it.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, when I called my wife the next morning, I was like, honey, you're going to see something on the news, but I'm fine.
Yeah.
And she's all, what? What happened?
Yeah.
And... because it happened later on it was, I guess, early evening, but they didn't really make the national news for a couple hours.
I had friends that were staying at Mandalay Bay. I want to say they were doing a show at Caesars or something like that, but they were staying at Mandalay Bay. And, like, a floor underneath where it was happening. One guy that I know, like, now, he went out and for his backpack, he got, like, a tactical insert for the inside of his backpack that's like rated up to like I think 38 caliber or something like that. Like rated for everything but up to high powered rifles. He's like, but I got the high powered rifle one coming.
Wow.
Like he's like I'm and he was on the street and he was like and made a very valid point. Like police officers, EMTs, first responders go through heavy training for stuff like this. The people that respond to this kind of stuff in the big black armored vehicle and come out in full gear are highly regimentally trained for this shit and are like calm, cool cucumbers. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I will never forget the fear in that police officer's eyes when he told me, go anywhere but here. Like, you need to go. You cannot go back inside to your room. You need to get the fuck out of here. He was like, that was the most scared police officer I have ever seen in my life. Were you able to get a hold of True over there?
We're texting him right now.
All right, cool.
And I mean, on another note, and then I left. So, like I said, I replaced myself on that show and went home, and it was surreal because on the way home, you know, I'm still kind of in. I think really I was just kind of in shock still about what really went down, and you know, I stopped in State Line to have some lunch before I went on, and everybody, almost everybody I talked to was at the concert.
Wow.
At, you know, like, I think I went to KFC or something. And,
it's a typical Kenny dinner.
You know.
Ellis, KFC,
I'm a food court guy, you know that.
Yeah, I'm the same way, brother.
And then
Grimaldi's twice in a day.
What I remember the most was talking to these two couples, and they were, you know, they were in their mid-20s. Yeah. And the two gentlemen, you know, I think they were married. I don't know. Anyway. But they were both military, and they were talking about, and they're like, yeah, he was already naming the type of guns they probably were. Yeah. You know?
Wow. Yeah. Well, and whenever I heard it,
and he said there was definitely, I mean, he's the one that was telling me, yeah, there's definitely only one guy, because, you know, what I was hearing was probably recoil.
Most of what I heard was reflected audio. You know, it was where people were saying like it was two shooters. It was definitely bouncing audio.
Plus they shut out two different windows. So.
And the rhythm of it, even like I called it. My guest Michael Cargo was like, "I sell guns. That's what I do for a living." That was not a fully automatic rifle. That was a bump stop. You know, and now like there's calls all over the country. Like there's not only a ban on them, they are collecting them in New Jersey right now. Really? Like if you got one, like they're going through receipts and purchases and shit like that. You must come turn in your bump stop. Wow. But you know, and it's interesting the way that these things come about afterward, and the reaction and the guttural reaction.
I mean there's always going to be a reaction to these types of things. You know, people are going to go proud and what changes. I myself, I'm not against gun ownership.
No. Oh man,
I'm against owning an arsenal.
Sure.
Sure. You don't need to own an arsenal. Yeah. You don't need to own a fully automatic or a gun with a bump stock to go hunting or protect yourself from somebody breaking in. You don't need to. Yeah. I mean, a bullet in the brain is going to stop somebody coming at you. You don't need to pump fucking 30 rounds into it before you can get them to stop.
That's right. I mean? You also don't need a 10-round clip to go hunting.
Yeah, I always think of it as this way. I mean,
unless you're hunting bear, then you might need a couple rounds.
A bear and a mountain lion at the same time.
I'm a big fan of the rifles that I grew up with. You know, like the Winchester 30-30, where it'll hold like 8 rounds, 6 rounds. You know, stuff like a standard 30-06, where it's like a 5 or 6 round magazine. You know, stuff like even with semi-automatic, I can understand the point of having a semi-automatic rifle. I can understand the point of having a semi-automatic shotgun if you're shooting into a freaking flock of geese.
Well, it all comes
but even then, you're only allowed to have a certain number of shells in your shotgun, depending on the state that you're in.
Yeah, like it all comes back down to moderation. Same thing for beer. You know, if you're drinking a freaking 24, listen. There's nothing wrong with beer. But if you're drinking a 24-pack every single fucking day, you're a fucking
You got an issue. You got a problem.
If you got fucking 24 guns underneath your bed, you got a fucking problem.
Oh, you're cut off.
Oh, yeah. If you spill beer on your microphone,
you got a problem. Yeah, that's gonna be good. Yeah. That's normally why I have that up on something. But
the first dudes in beer.
No, not the first.
It's dudes.
Not the first.
Makes sense.
There have been many dudes in beer microphone fails. No, I don't care if my book leaks. There are people that clean this room. I don't care what happens. But what I will do, give me 1 second. Hold on. Yeah.
If it sounds like we're talking underwater, because the microphone is full of beer.
Sorry. Put it on that.
Let me live it dry real quick.
Somebody go get the hairdryer. Where's my bowl of rice?
It'll sound great.
So, yeah, I mean, everything still seems to be working all right.
Yeah, no, it's...
Yeah, there we go. Now it's up on something. But, you know...
Put the microphone in rice.
These things always have extreme pendulum reactions with the public. And understandably so, because they're horrific. Like when it happens, when something like Pulse nightclub happens, you know, when something like this happens, and you're just left with the question of, number one, with Pulse nightclub, like why was the guy on the FBI watch list like not once, not twice, but thrice, and still able to go out and buy a friggin' gun? You know,
we were in Orlando, and it happened right after we left.
It happened the day we left.
And then I was right down the street from the shooting in San Bernardino.
Yeah. When it happened here, we had just left the day before as well.
Where everybody got shot up in San Bernardino. My son used to go for occupational therapy there when he was
Wow.
I knew a couple of people that worked there, and we called them. They were in the big building. They weren't in the lunch area or that cafeteria hall, but. They were, security locked down that building, and they funneled everybody into a couple of rooms. Anyway.
But
let's get to Shannon's story.
I was just about to say, the one story that we haven't heard from and that we haven't shared this evening is Shannon's story. And I haven't even heard I haven't even heard it from Shannon. I've heard Shannon's story from other people. But I would love to know, number one, your YouTube video or your Facebook video that you took while you were there. I'd love to see that here on air so that we can hear the audio, all that kind of stuff.
No, I actually, a friend of mine was a worker there. He was renting his fans out with the mist, you know.
Oh yeah.
So mist fans. But
yeah.
Anyway,
cooling fans.
He called me the last minute, and I was like, oh, that's tonight. Yeah, I think I saw that. Because I worked at Mandalay Bay the day of at a conference. And I was like, oh, cool. I forgot they were having that concert. And then he called me probably about 8 or something that night. And I got VIP tickets.
Cool.
And
nice.
I was like, well, my wife, she doesn't like crowds or anything. But she'll go every now and then. I was surprised she said yeah. So
oh wow, your wife was with you too.
Yeah, she has bad anxiety. Damn. And so it's like okay, let me ask my wife. Sure. And I called him back. Yeah, we're coming. So he met me at the gate. I think it was about 9:30. And it was the gate 2. Right on the Las Vegas Boulevard. So my wife we usually park together, but she's like, "Oh, let me let you off at the gate."
Okay.
So I said, "I'll wait here for him," and she went and parked in the back in the dirt parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I know where that is.
Yeah.
I walk by that.
And so he met up with me, and I waited around. She texted me, "Oh." I was supposed to meet her back at the gate when I got the badges.
Sure.
And back at gate 4A. And so I went walking back there. I walked through the crowd and all that. And then so then I got a text. Oh, they won't let me stand here. The police officer said it's too dangerous to stand here. So that was weird. Yeah. My wife's like, why would he say that? It's too dangerous to stand here. She told him that I was just waiting for a pass so I can get in. No, you can't stand here. It's too dangerous. So they escorted her around to where I was. So I walked back and then met up with her. Got in. Got something to drink. Met my friend in the VIP tent close to the Las Vegas Boulevard. And we were right on the very end, closest to the stage.
Okay.
And there was a bar there too, I think. Anyway, so I think we heard about maybe 1.5 songs or so, and it was only like 15 minutes.
Oh God, dude, you didn't even get to enjoy any of the show.
And
you got there just in time for the
just in time, yeah. And we were right by these toilet places, the
the porta potties.
Yeah, porta potties, and my wife always looks for exits on her way because she's got anxiety, and it's like, how are we going to get out? But this time she didn't for some reason. She's just being different or something.
Yeah.
And then anyway,
just relaxed.
She thought about going to the restroom and was like, it's because they're right there, right down the stairs.
Yeah,
there's on the platform, the tent. So, so we kept playing, and Jason Aldean was playing, and he was playing his popular hit, Barstool.
Yep.
Anyway, so we sang that and hung out with my friend, and
sounds like you're having a good time, man.
Good time, having beer. And I didn't even get to finish my beer. But anyway,
that sucks. That's a shame.
But
a travesty.
It spilled when all this happened. So anyway, we heard the pop, pop, pop. I was like, I thought it might have been firecrackers, but my wife said that's not firecrackers because she knows about guns.
It's a pretty distinct sound. Like, I popped a lot of fireworks and I've shot a lot of guns, and not even a 22 sounds like a firecracker.
But for people that don't know the sound of shots,
absolutely,
they could easily mistaken it for something else.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh. So
could have been a pyro that was getting ready to go off.
People thought that.
Getting ready to go off with a pyro blast.
We all know
with propane, and it's just charging.
You got a bad mic on the floor, Tom, or something. What the hell?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Anyway. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So anyway, we thought about it for a minute. It's like, I wonder what that was. Started, he's playing his next song, the one he ends on. Then we heard this,
oh my God.
I was like, what is that? At first I was like, well, that's guns, I think, but somebody's playing around. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
What are they doing out there? Or it's a gang on the street, or...
Yep.
So, kept watching the show, sort of, and then, started seeing people hit the ground. It's like, then that's what we did. We saw the Jason Aldean run off the stage.
Yeah.
Then we ran and got under a table. That's where I spilled my beer. And then so we stayed there until the rounds quit, and then I checked on my friend, and he said, I'm going this way, and my wife said, we're going this way. And usually she freaks out, but she's a teacher, so she knows all about getting her kids out into safety.
Yeah.
So she went into that mode.
It just kicks in.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm freaking out more than her. I'm like, we're going to die tonight.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so...
Which way did you go? Did you go back towards the dirt lot, or did you go down onto the boulevard?
I went northeast, and the dirt lot is east. So I went north towards MGM, that direction, when I was in the venue. So we got out of the VIP tent, and there was 2 bodies on the ground shot.
Damn.
And we stepped over it because we was trying to get safety.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, something's happening. This is real, And we wasn't sure we didn't know where it was coming from.
Yeah. Right? Who cares where it's coming from?
But she said, we got to get out of here. So we was running. It was like, first we saw this generator. It's like, and we couldn't get in there, and so there was this other stage back that direction, and where vendors are, and we went through this tent looking thing, but it was under a stage, and there was tons of people in there down on the ground with like tables over their body, and we just walked around them, and we got out. I can't believe we didn't stay in there, but good thing we didn't. we got over to the other side where we could see the outside, and it started happening again.
Yeah.
So
by that point, he'd reloaded.
Yeah, something happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's when I decided to make a video. I was like, well, it might be my last time.
Yeah.
It's like, so they'll know. I wasn't going to call my mom, but I wasn't even thinking of that. It's like, I don't want to worry her. She's asleep.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, took the video and...
Can you pull that video up for us?
I got it right here because I figured you...
Pull it up so we can have the audio and everything.
Yeah, here we go. Let's see.
Because I've heard about this. I want to see it.
Let's see. This is it. Oops.
Oh yeah, your audio is probably down because you're on stand. There you go.
Okay.
Oh wow. Yeah, and you can see everybody hunkered down.
There's been a shooting. Guns everywhere. At the Route 91 in Las Vegas, right across from the Luxor. Machine guns firing everywhere. Don't go that way. What are you doing?
That's my wife over in the corner.
Oh, you can hear it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're always like a block or so away from the sound of it.
Oh, yeah.
This way.
So we ran. This is when we stopped running.
Hey, don't leave me.
And she took off without me. I was like, wait.
He's like, keep up,
Don't leave me.
That's her. That's pretty much.
Leave it. Just leave it.
Wow.
That was pretty much it.
Wow.
And that's all I got. I got a few
But-
more little videos afterwards.
But still, like to see that, to
hear the
gunfire.
gunfire.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, that was it, just from the sound of it, no less than a block or so away.
Yeah.
Like easily.
And how long was that? Like after you first noticed the shooting, like 5 minutes or something?
That was about... I'm trying to think. It's probably about 5 minutes. I'm thinking 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because there was a few more rounds in between. Yeah.
And so, how did y'all finally make it out?
Oh, yeah. So we started running, and we were behind the bleachers way in the back. And I didn't even know there were bleachers. But so there was a big fence with a metal. And people were trying to rip the metal open. It's like, you can't get out that way.
Yeah.
So,
It's not a door, man.
because they were like,
Walking Dead type shit, like any way out.
yeah.
I can firmly understand the mentality, quite honestly.
Pandemonium.
Yeah.
People just do things. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I heard. I
It's
don't
the
know if
crowd
it's true or not, but I
panic
heard that they
mentality.
knocked over some fence into the
A lot.
McCarran Airport area.
Yeah.
And they
They
started
did.
going out onto the tarmac.
Yeah, they did
I
that.
think it was like the private field or something.
They tore it down. And
Yeah.
They went that way. They were scared. Yeah.
I can firmly understand. So
I just wanted to get out of there. That's all.
Yeah.
So, anyway, there's this crowd of long line of people we were in. It was like people were shoving and pushing. I saw people throwing up, bleeding, tripping, and so we finally got out of that, and we crossed through the vendors on gate 4A where I met her first. Where she was trying to meet up with me, and so. We went out the back gate, and then we saw an ambulance with tons of people around it. Oh, but first, before that, there was a tent in there just for medical people.
Sure.
Just regular.
Yeah.
But it was loaded with people that got shot.
Yeah.
Or bleeding, whatever, And then, so we went out the gate, and there was that same police officer that she talked to.
Yeah.
He got shot in the neck.
Oh wow.
I heard about him. But,
Wow.
Yeah, he was laying in the street. So I was like, which way we're going? And we was trying to get our car.
Yeah.
I was like, we're not going through there. It's a wide open space. You know?
Yeah.
But we did. I was like, well, we got to get there somehow. So we
Yeah.
went through the church parking lot because somebody busted open the
church gate.
The gate.
Yeah.
So we started running through there. Didn't really think about it. And people were climbing over this fence. It's a metal fence with its pointy things at the top. They were breaking that. They actually broke another fence through there just to get out. I got pictures of that too. And later on. But we got through there because people was breaking the fences. And besides that, then we got on it's a street called Haven, right behind the parking lot. There's some warehouses, and we saw these warehouses, and there's windows broken. And I think some of it was shooting, but some of them people just trying to get away. That's what I heard later. And then we went over to Hooters. We went through all these apartments and went over to Hooters. We didn't go inside because she knew better. Because he said, we go in there, we're going to get locked down. She's been here most of her life. And we'd have to stay there. So anyway, so we stayed out. We sort of calmed down. And that's when I noticed my knee. I was like, my knee was bleeding. And and I found out later that was a ricochet, you know.
Yeah. You were hit by flak from a ricochet bullet.
Yeah, so they x-rayed and all that. But no lead. So
yeah, that's
stuck in there. It still hurts.
Sure.
I mean, but it's healed up pretty good.
But I mean, and that just goes to say something that not only to the survival instinct, but to the body itself, you know, and to the mindset. Like you were focused on one thing, you didn't even notice the fact that you'd been hit by fragments of a bullet.
I think a lot of people was like that too.
Yeah.
It's like just kept going till they started feeling it later.
Yeah.
So then we went down to Motel 6, walking that direction. I was like, we need to get as far away as we can. She's like, no, we're going back to get the car. So
I like your wife.
Yeah.
She's my kind of woman.
It's like, they're going to hold it.
Zombie apocalypse.
Right?
Yeah. It's like, well, she's
like,
explaining.
I'm not going down.
She explained it's like, well, where are most of the police officers? It's safer here than anywhere else.
Yeah.
So, I guess. So, we headed back through the motels and got over to one of the streets. And there was a news crew, and she did they wanted to interview. And so they interviewed her just briefly. And then we went on, and then we got back over to that warehouse place where there's broken glass and windows and all that, and we came up to the parking lot and we found a dead body.
Oh man.
It was a girl. Later on afterwards we found out it was a girl, one of the 58.
Wow.
Her name was Melissa Ramez. She was 26 from California.
I remember that name.
Yeah. And actually there's more to that story, but it's longer.
This was
afterwards.
This was at the Motel 6 you guys went to?
Well, no, this is back close to the grounds at the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
Dirt parking lot area. But actually, one of the guys, the video, no, let's see. How we found out it was her, and there was a few more that died there too, in that same parking lot. Yeah. She was drugged from the dirt parking lot to there, just to get safety.
Yeah.
And there was another girl, I forget her name,
and
Lisa.
Just ended up not making it.
Yeah. And she didn't make it either. She was like right next to her, behind this truck.
Wow. And how has this affected you? Has it changed you as a person? Has it do you find that you're different that you view the world, or even the town that you've lived in for 11 years in a different way?
Yeah, I don't trust anybody.
Yeah?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, I try to, but
sure.
You never know. I definitely don't trust the police. I don't trust the government and all that kind of people. You know, I don't believe anything they say. Really, they probably lie to us all the time.
Well, they not probably.
They do.
I would challenge you to find a single case of the CIA going before a Senate hearing or committee where it has not come out later that they lied.
Oh yeah.
Well, they do it for, so they say, national security.
I'm sure there's some good guys out there.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely, I know many government workers that are doing things for the right reasons. You know, there are of course banal people. I mean, heck, it just came out that there was a sheriff in California that was busted for basically going Vic Mackey. You know, it was like he was getting paid by drug dealers to like protect their shipments and like help take out smaller dealers and stuff like that. So, and there being, you know, one of my favorite movies that whenever I travel across the country, I have movies that are timed for my flights. And oddly enough, it is the exact time from when the plane starts moving to when the plane touches down for the movie Casino between Austin and Houston, or Austin and Las Vegas. So that's what I watch on the way over here, and one of my favorite lines is, you know, there's a lot of holes out in the desert in Vegas. A lot of problems are buried in those holes. You know? and that's the thing, is that this stories like yours, we were talking about it on the way down to meet you guys, that this episode's kind of groundbreaking. Like, sincerely, I don't know of a news channel or anything like that that's had like 3 people that were on site, that were there when it happened, somebody that was wounded from it, you know, and giving their perspective from what it was on the ground, you know, and why not? That's my question. Like, as someone who worked in media, why would you not do that? Why would you not?
I'm sure it's. I don't live here. I mean, I come here a lot. I work here quite a bit, but I mean, I was calling people. The next thing I tried to call Ivan. I tried to call Lance. Mike Burnsy. You know, I tried to call them. I'll just check on them. Yeah. Because I know you guys do the iHeart, right?
Yeah. We used to. We still do.
Yeah.
Some of
us.
us.
So I thought you guys might have been working that show. So I was trying to check on you guys just to see if anybody, if they, you know. But my point was, I mean, it didn't just affect us being near it, and you being in it. But I mean, really, I mean, that night it affected the whole town. Everybody in it for the most part that knew what was on, you know. And then you guys have to live in the town still, you know.
Well, and
that's what I felt bad about leaving and going back home. Even though I'm going back home to my family, I'm like, well, I'm just running away from the crap I'm dealing with it.
And I guess that's kind of the point that I was getting to with the question that I asked you there, Shannon. And I'd like to hear from you on it as well, Maurice. As people who do what we do, we work high-profile gigs, man. Yeah. Like you worked presidential election shit. You know, like I've worked with governors. I've worked with the president of Mexico. Shit like that. Like, I've had to pass Secret Service background checks to have gigs.
Well, he always asks me, how come you know all the
lots of people
these ways around? It's like, because I am like your wife. I might not be, you know, completely paranoid, but I always know where to freaking go.
And I'm someone who suffers from anxiety, but also started working in a basement club shortly after the whole Whitesnake incident. So it was one of those, anytime I entered places, I immediately look for my exit route. It's just instinctual now. I always look for my way out.
I do it all the time now, too.
You know, and like, have you found yourself affected in any other ways by the incident, by the ordeal, by the people, the victims that you ran across, things like that?
Well, the first week after all that, I felt like I was in a bubble or something.
Sure.
I was like, something's wrong. Well, of course, but anyway.
Well, I mean, there's going to be some PTSD. Like you saw dead bodies.
I know.
Like I've seen that once in my life.
Yeah.
Once in my life.
You were in it more than I was, but
I can't even imagine
6 or 7
it like
days
that.
before I was like, okay, I can actually go do work and maybe focus on what I got to do. And
yeah.
Not just.
Yeah.
And that's just it. Working the gigs that we work, doing the things that we do, like we are directly in harm's way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like my wife, I love her to death. Amy, I love you, baby. Good God, turn your ringer on. They're like, you were my emergency contact, man. If I fall 30 feet from a ladder, you're the one they're calling. Turn your ringer on. You know? Yeah, it's... I can't even imagine, like I said, we put ourselves in harm's way doing shows like this, doing shows like SHOT Show, where there's just tons of people with guns all over the place, and you're setting up exhibit booths.
Yeah, the loud noise is really affecting me.
Yeah.
Especially when I hear helicopters. Even now, and I hear helicopters.
Just because of the rhythm?
I'm sort of getting used to it, but yeah, it's
yeah.
So that sort of affects me a little bit.
Yeah.
And when I hear a gunshot in the neighborhoods, that freaks me out sometimes.
Now, are you familiar with guns? Are you a
little bit.
Hunter?
I grew up in Mississippi,
yeah,
so
yeah. Exactly.
Hunter.
You spent time in Tennessee.
Yeah.
I assume the fact you've either been to a range or been out on a ranch shooting at some point. So.
Yeah.
But is that something that you see in a different light now? Is that?
Yeah.
I mean, what were your stances on guns and firearms to begin with, and what are they now post experience? I'd like to hear it from you also.
Well,
Maurice.
I hadn't shot guns in forever, but I just recently. This is another story, but I recently found my blood dad.
Oh wow!
Back in October, same month. So
congratulations.
So anyway,
man.
they're from Alabama, and they're big gun owners and hunters and all that. Anyway, I spent the week for them, and the first time I ever shot skeet.
Yeah.
I was like, this is pretty cool. This is
fun as hell, dude. It is fun
just
as hell.
for activity. I don't think I'd like to shoot anybody, but
well, you don't want to shoot.
It's
anybody.
fun. But
I'll gladly shoot anything I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
You like to shoot people.
No.
I don't intend to eat. I don't intend to eat people, so I don't intend to shoot people.
But I like deer meat and all that.
Oh yeah.
But I think we got a pretty good law, but it probably needs to be enforced a little bit better.
Yeah.
I think that if they want guns, they're still going to get them, though.
Exactly. And, it's just, and you look at the example of prohibition. Like liquor was illegal. The people who wanted to get liquor still got liquor.
Yeah.
Even with marijuana in the state that things have just been legalized recreationally here in Vegas, stuff like that. Even before then, the people who wanted to get reefer whenever they came to Vegas could get reefer when they came to Vegas. You're going to find a way to get what you're looking for.
What's the difference between going to the shop and getting it and going to somebody's house in the alley?
Yeah, exactly. Or putting yourself in a situation of danger. Now, Maurice, where do you stand on gun laws, and how has your experience affected you in the way that you work, in the way that you walk the town that you grew up in, man? Like, this is your town, dude. Like, you went to high school here, stuff like that.
Yeah, I went to junior high school here, college, so it impacts me a lot because, the last big tragedy that was here was the MGM fire when it was at Valley's.
Yeah.
That's what I was here for that,
Wow.
And that was the last big thing that Las Vegas went through until this just happened, And so seeing, because I really claim Vegas and California my towns because I grew up in both areas, at a young age. So, but like I said again, I got my first driver's license here.
Yeah.
So, the physical thing that I got out of that, besides being actually at the event and God bless not getting harmed was this phone. This phone got busted, and so I keep this as a memory, as a memento.
Yeah.
Of what happened when I was,
the close
got
call.
caught up, and so me actually not having to see the guy's face, I think that would have made a bigger impact on me.
Yeah.
If I'd have, turned him over and he'd be like, looking at me.
Even that experience, though, of seeing somebody wounded in that way, how did that impact you? Has that changed you in any way?
Well, I was going to pick him up, but when I heard the gunfire going off, survival just kicked in.
Absolutely, yeah. It's instant.
I don't know if he, I just saw the blood come out of his back, so I don't know if he's dead or not, but he wasn't moving.
Yeah.
So I know I gotta keep moving.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not gonna help anybody else if I'm laying not right next to
you can't
somebody.
help anybody.
Yeah. And so I, like I said, I just had to think of me,
Yeah.
And people were running, and I know I was there by myself, so I'm gonna take care of myself.
Yeah.
Because I have a daughter, and my mom. I didn't call them until I got to the airport. It was letting them know what was happening.
Sure.
And you didn't notice that the phone reception was down.
Yeah.
I could not get a phone call.
Oh yeah, no,
through.
they locked that down.
Yeah, I could not.
They locked
get a
that
phone call
down,
through.
bro.
So when I got to LA, that's when I was able to make a call.
Yeah.
Wow.
They locked that stuff down to make sure that if there are multiple shooters, they cannot communicate.
Right, exactly.
And I mean, I've worked, like I said, numerous gigs with presidents, former presidents, stuff like that.
Right.
And like the Secret Service even actively carries like frequency crushers.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll see your cell phone just like
it's done.
just gone.
It's a brick.
And then they arrive and whoop, it comes back. How has it changed? Has it changed how you feel walking around your hometown? Like I said, that was your formative years to me. High school, college. That's when you really find your identity as self, and to identify yourself in entertainment the way that you have, in the impact that you've had in the entertainment industry. How does it make you feel to walk around this town now?
Well, I'm already very observant. I remember having a girlfriend, and she's like, "Why are you always looking at people?" A past girlfriend. And I'm like, "Because you never know what's gonna happen, but you need to know your surroundings."
Yeah, you need to be aware.
I've always been that acute in anything, and so this just heightens it up even more. So I'm like very cautious, even more cautious now, even more leery of certain situations.
Do you sense that same feeling amongst other people in town too? Like, is there like this vibe of like, worry around, or?
I mean, it's natural.
Well, when you walk the strip, you don't see that.
No.
People are there. It's like over now, And so the people that everybody in the world has heard about it. I had people hitting me up from the Philippines saying, "Hey, people hitting me up from Japan. Hey, are you okay? We just heard about this."
Well, and that's just it. Like, it was world news. It was all over the place. And here we are just a few months later. And like we were saying, it's almost like the city itself has said, like, let's just collectively say nothing.
Yeah.
Because,
the city needs the money coming in. So, and that's
it'll hurt tourism, all kinds of stuff.
That's the whole premise of Vegas, is a getaway. So, I mean, when something like this happens in a place like that, it's obviously going to wreck the image of the town, and you're afraid that there's going to be a revenue loss. And, I mean, that's what I'm wondering is Mandalay Bay. I mean, how has Mandalay Bay dealt with it?
Well, here, let me tell you about that. So, New Year's, my girlfriend and I, we decided to do New Year's in Vegas. So she brings her daughter. And I know she knows about it, but she gets a room in Mandalay Bay. And I'm like, honey, you know that's the hotel, right?
Gotta be a decent rate though.
Yeah, she got a great rate. It's a great room too.
Great room, great rate.
You know? And so I'm like, okay. And she when I mentioned that, she's like, oh yeah, that's right. But it just shows to me that a lot of people it was news, but it goes back to what you were saying, Chris.
The normalization.
Yeah, the normalization of it. And now it's gone.
Yeah.
You know, and so the only way I'm going to think about it again is if somebody brings it up again.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm walking around Mandalay and people, it's like crowded.
Yeah.
Like before.
It's like
it's a tourist attraction.
It's like no interruption of business.
No, no step. It didn't stutter. You know, and I'm like, wow.
And I heard that people would probably pay a pretty penny to stay in that room.
You know. But
there's
look here,
people like that.
Yeah, but look here. I heard that the site is rented again.
Yeah. No reason not to.
I thought it was still shut down.
No, it's open.
Or was that you telling me, or was that somebody? It was Lance or Mike was telling me is that once they collected all the evidence, they repaved over all the bullet holes in the property.
Yep, and it's
they
rented it out.
That's all on YouTube.
To
FBI stuff.
To 91 again.
Yeah. The same concert's gonna come back in the same
again.
Spot. They were talking about how they shouldn't hold a concert there anymore. That they should move outdoor concerts like that more towards the airport because there's no high shooter point. You know
where they should move it to?
It's all about money.
Yeah, they should move it to where Rock and Rio was. Yeah. That's where they should move it to.
That's a big place.
Yeah. And the high rise across there, it's about the same distance, the SLS, but I think they'll be ready this time. You know, it's kind of like the same kind of scenario.
I'm sure they'll have lookouts.
Oh yeah.
Infrared cameras looking for stuff.
And just to go back to some of the facts of the case and the shooter, like I said, he was a regular at casinos on the Strip, where he came in a weekend. Like the weekend that he was there, he sent $30,000 to his girl in the Philippines.
Sent her to the Philippines.
She's been, and oddly enough, she deleted her Facebook account like shortly after everything happened.
Of course.
But
did you hear about?
But he was actively gambling at Mandalay with her card. So like, what are you doing? Like racking up points for your lady is like a final, enjoy. Here's $20,000 worth of points.
Did you hear about the lady that was walking an hour before?
Yes.
During the concert?
Go ahead.
And she was saying that, you guys better leave. Everybody's going to die. Security had to walk her off property.
Yep.
What? Oh yeah.
There was also apparently, and True. I wish we would have been able to get a hold of True. I wish True would have been able to be here because, like I said, True's a scanner like me. He likes to sit back and listen to scanner frequencies, and he was talking about how the police were saying that there were multiple shooters, that there was shooting going on all over the Strip, all kinds of stuff. But he was also saying that there was an active drill at the hospital for a multiple shooter.
Huh.
Going on the same day.
Well, I'm going to give you some financial news about this.
Do
now, 2 days before, Jim Murray, if you know who he is, he's the CEO of the MGM properties. Took out $9 million in stock 2 days before they
sold off $10 million of his stock.
Wow.
And then the next day took another $5 million out. Sold off.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then that happened. That's odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's never done that before.
I know.
That's strange. That's strange. And there's
I don't believe in coincidence, dude.
Right.
And
no.
that shit, it's not coincidence.
Why did you, first of all, why did you take out that much? You've never done that before, ever.
Yeah. The day before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got a hunch that day.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. You mean a tip-off, right?
Something.
Stock might plummet.
And we were talking earlier today. Apparently, you found out that the money for the victims fund and stuff like that is tied up. And like I told Maurice, $30 million for the families of the victims, for people like you that were injured, stuff like that. And unfortunately, the fact is, like I was telling you on the way over here, Shannon, that the Vegas police have closed the case. They are done. Their investigation is over. But you're still looking at an ATF investigation, a Department of Homeland Security investigation, an FBI investigation.
Well, yeah, because
not only that, but like we were saying, and I posted on the Dudes and Beer group today, they are actively looking at other people. I posted that article today, and it was funny that you brought it up because I was like, I just posted that article on the Dudes and Beer Facebook group today. That they're actively interviewing other people and talking to other suspects and things like that. In the
feds or
there's other suspects. I'm sure.
The funny thing about that is True said that I was like, wow. True said that there was 5 individuals that said that there were multiple shooters.
Yeah.
And all 5 of those people have come up deceased.
Not only that, the security guard. There was a security guard that was supposed to make the circuit. And he was supposed to make the media circuit, go on CNN, all kinds of stuff, and tell his story.
He's the security guard that interrupted because, as we all know, that he had a camera set at the door. He saw the guy come down the hallway, and he fired down the hallway.
Yeah.
So he took the attention away from the crowd.
Yeah.
Without that, who knows how many more bullets, or, why he didn't. Obviously, at that point, he was trying to hit his escape route or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Because, the guy had like a system of cameras set up on the peephole and outside.
Yeah, he had a whole lot of defense for himself.
Yeah. Yeah, he was barricaded down.
He's in a freaking concrete bunker for the most part.
Yeah. I mean,
there's only one way in, one way out.
Yeah.
I mean, you concentrate fire. I mean, that's an army tactic. Concentrate fire.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's a freaking. I mean, you've all been in freaking hotel hallways. It's not.
There ain't a whole lot of room.
There ain't nowhere to freaking get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah.
You throw 100 rounds down a hallway, you're gonna get hit.
You're gonna catch a couple people for sure.
Somebody's getting tagged.
Yeah. And
But anyway, back to because he went to New York to go on a circuit, and they pulled him right before that he went on that morning.
Yeah.
And then he didn't make
He's vanished.
The shows.
He's vanished. No, like.
So wait, there was 5 people that went on record and said there was definitely multiple shooters.
Yes.
And since those people went on record, they have died.
They're gone. They're dead. Yes, they are passed away.
Yeah,
and like car wrecks.
One died from a car wreck. One guy had a heart attack. One guy choked on a ham sandwich.
So he pinned a ball.
What, dude?
Gone.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, my wife is like,
I'm still
you're
trying
not
to
going
find
out anywhere.
Yeah.
I want to find out what happened to the lady that was
Yeah.
walking around. Oh, you're gonna die. Nope, nobody knows where she's at.
Yeah.
And there was a Mexican guy with her. She was a Mexican lady. Mexican guy with her. Nobody knows where she's at.
Yeah.
Well, I've talked to some of the survivors on some of the survivor sites, and they said they saw her,
Oh,
but nobody knows who she was.
Right.
So there's like numerous people that can attest to the fact that there was a woman walking around saying, "You're all going to die
tonight."
I never saw
yeah.
her.
Yes.
I never.
And she was taken in
But I
for
wasn't there.
disrupting
No,
the
she
peace,
She
or
wasn't taken in.
she just like went
They
home.
walked her off the property.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Like, what the fuck?
I don't know.
Yeah. Then they said the lady that that he gave the money to in Philippines.
Yeah, his
that
girlfriend.
She was helping him unload the guns
Load up
at
the
the
guns.
hotel. Yeah,
Load the guns.
well,
Yeah.
load guns, but she went to the hotel with him
And
to
said,
help him take up the guns.
I
to the
can't.
room.
I can't really see that, mainly because if I'm not mistaken, she was already in the Philippines.
Okay.
By the time he checked in,
I
but
think he sent her away a couple weeks before.
Yeah.
She went to the Philippines first, and then
yeah, she went to the Philippines
then
regularly.
she went to mainland China, and then
Yeah.
came back to the Philippines.
Yeah,
And then she made it over here to be questioned.
But
mainland China.
But then
Interesting with him being a former Lockheed employee.
then they said that his car was missing.
What, the one he had staged with guns in it, or
Yeah, the one that he drove to the hotel.
because he was there for like a week before, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Was they said where they trying to find the car, and they think the lady that was walking around saying that everybody's gonna die. They think that she was
The guy.
in partnerships with him.
She drove the car there.
Right.
Yeah.
And then whatever, ditched it in valet
Right.
or did whatever.
Exactly. But then they can't find the car in LA.
Yeah.
Car's gone.
Yeah.
But somebody knows where that car
Oh.
is. The police know where that car is. They're
That-
not letting
That
everybody
car
else.
is not in some impound
Yeah,
somewhere.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It is being. it
Well,
is-
and there were reports that whenever they inspected his car, that they found like ammonium nitrate, like bags of
Yeah.
ammonium nitrate, all kinds of shit. You know. So, and for those of you that don't know, ammonium nitrate, mix it with a little bit of fuel oil, and you basically have the.
Don't tell people that make a bomb. Shush.
It's common knowledge,
Yeah.
man. It was the Oklahoma City bomb.
So, freaking 10-year-olds don't know that. Now they're going to listen to your podcast 10 years.
There's the internet. I guarantee you they know
Yeah,
that.
I know.
I knew
What was
it
that
at
book?
15,
I had that
and
book.
there wasn't the internet.
There was a book back in the day.
The Anarchist Cookbook.
Yes. I made a firebomb out of a racquetball and self-striking.
I'm not gonna lie. My poor mother is a victim right now. There's a copy of that sitting buried in a box in her garage. And I really need to remove it.
Oh boy. But really, all I've heard in the last 10 minutes is stuff that possibly confirms my theory on the Manchurian Candidate. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's the curious thing. Once again, here is an affluent guy, next to no problems, has no religious affiliation, has no political affiliation to speak of, talks to his mother on a regular basis. The hurricane in Florida had just happened. Literally called his brother like the day before. How's mom doing? Is she okay in the home? You know, like, that's not the typical mass shooter scenario. That's not the typical, like, person that snaps or is like the lone gunman scenario, you know.
Well, he's probably got the intellect of a Zoolander, so.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say that because he made millions of dollars in real estate. You don't make millions of dollars in real estate being a Zoolander.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not about in real estate. It's not about being smart. It's about
right.
freaking being
Well, I'm gonna
how to
take-
close the deal.
well,
I mean, look at our president.
yeah.
Anyway,
In the shadow of Trump Tower down the road.
My opinion, so whatever.
Oh yeah, I wanted to say.
Go ahead.
I know two more people that were there. Well, one of the guys was a lighting guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a lighting director for Jason Aldean. Travels with him.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, I was gonna go out and visit him after the show, you know, but all that happened then. But he called me to check it because he knew I was coming. So he checked on me, and they hid under the stage.
Oh, yeah.
You know, all them guys.
I'd dive under that
Steel
2-inch.
deck.
I'd
Yeah.
dive under that 2-inch steel deck in a heartbeat, bro.
And they said that they could hear the
Yeah.
bullets hitting the stage. Just
Yeah.
and another
You're in
guy.
a fucking
And that's
war
that's,
zone. Like,
that's really
you go
the-
from being
Yeah.
at a concert to being in a war
and that's
zone.
really the scary thing is that I'm sure a lot of his guns had scopes on them, but you're not bump firing through a scope. When you're bump firing, it's down at your hip, you know. And I mean, like, you can bump fire without a bump fire stock. We used to do it with like semi-automatic 22s. You just got to know how to balance your gun right, But that was one of the theories that was going around as far as it not being him. Was you're talking like 500 rounds, like 100 rounds per minute for 5-6 minutes. As far as that goes, that is some sincere stamina. I don't know if you've ever fired a fully automatic rifle or if you've ever fired a, bump stop like that. But it puts some sincere work into your upper chest and your upper body. So that was one of the theories that was going around as far as, he was a patsy and set up. But just the fact of putting that shit, you are not firing for accuracy from 30, and the only way you're firing for accuracy from 37 floors up. Right now we're 29 floors up. Mm-hmm. So even to get any kind of sight line to shoot properly, you're looking at least down there, to the garage down there. Much less to hit with accuracy. Like, you use something with a scope.
No,
you wouldn't be bump firing.
Yeah, he's not taking straight shot. I mean, he's really just raining.
Exactly.
Raining for
exactly.
him.
And that,
it's not lead anymore. It's copper.
That's just it. Somebody with no history of violence, no criminal history. Like, what causes them to just rain hellfire down on a crowd of 5,000 fucking people, man?
Well, for the longest, I thought that I could have been taken out. Like,
well, yeah.
Because I'm thinking
I could have never talked to fucking
easy.
Maurice McCoy again.
It was easy.
That's one of the things that I was curious about was like, being at, you guys are working or being at a concert.
Exactly.
It's like, is this shooting, aimed at the person on stage? Mm-hmm. Is it aimed at the people in the crowd? It's crazy. You have no idea what the hell's going on, and you guys are just trying to do your job. You know what I mean? You were enjoying the show.
Yeah.
But, just trying to figure out what's going on in that, 30 seconds to a minute or however long take to figure out what's going on must have just been, something you've probably never experienced in your life.
Yeah, never.
It's not become uncommon. I mean, good God, that's how we lost Dimebag Darrell. Was somebody bringing a gun into a club and shooting him while he was on stage?
Yeah, okay, that's where you sit. Okay, now think of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
This guy is 37 floors up.
Yes.
He's not face to face.
No.
All of these other mass shootings, it's personal.
Yeah.
There's something personal about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the faces of these people shooting people.
Yeah.
The kids at schools that shooting people.
That's right.
Pulse nightclub. He had an issue with gay people or whatever it was.
The people
but he was a regular attender at Pulse nightclub.
But the point is this,
which is why he wasn't searched on the way in.
It was personal. They're killing people.
Yeah.
Personally, face to face. That's all. There's a big difference between me standing 5 feet away from you and shooting you, and me having a scope freaking 2 miles away.
Absolutely.
Or 37 floors up.
Or just raining hellfire down.
Yeah, it's totally different.
Yeah. It's a different mentality.
So go back to. The desensitization.
Desensitization.
Beers and
I'm with you.
It's one of those Vegas! Words, okay?
Vegas strong.
Yeah, they got some strong stuff here yet.
So my other.
That's a whole nother show.
Go ahead, Kenny.
Yeah. Anyway, okay.
Back
to my train of thought. Okay, so it's back to the personal and so he was obviously that's why I'm still intrigued, not just because of all the other stuff, part of it, blah blah blah. Is it was just there's nothing there saying he had anything against country music.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He's a white dude with money. He
or
loved
concert
country music.
goers.
Quite
Vegas goers.
Quite honestly, the angle that I saw happening and the thing that I called to my wife whenever I saw it, I was like, "How much you want to bet that it comes out he's an anti-Trumper?"
we're anti-millennial because
and that was my first call. Just as far as like the scenario,
because remember the
congressman
had got shot in the baseball game. Pretty close to that as well.
Exactly, and that's exactly why I thought it was like with that having happened at the senatorial baseball game,
or do you think like in his mind, he thought this would cause change in America for something better, or I'm just struggling to try to comprehend.
But once again, even at that
point,
think
that's an angle.
Even at that point,
he's doing it for change.
That would be somebody. That would be somebody that's like politically active or politically motivated.
That's a political statement.
No political ties.
Yeah,
that's true. He had no like party affiliation.
Like insinuating I shouldn't be able to have all these guns. I shouldn't be allowed to bring all these guns to Las Vegas. Like that could easily be seen as like a political statement.
Yeah.
But he apparently he never made anything like that. You know what I mean?
No.
He had been
well, and not just that. Like he gave no money to political parties or candidates or anything like that. So it's not like he was one side or the other. Even his family said that he wasn't even religious. Like he didn't go to church, God, okay, but
the interview with his brother is like, it's like, he was like, "There's our father," but there was no indications of anything.
One thing that ran through my mind when you were telling me about how his dad was on America's Most Wanted was like, maybe if he didn't get to spend as much time with his father as he, wanted to, because his dad was always running from the law. Maybe he had this like, agenda against, the government
or maybe he just wanted to be like his father.
Yeah, maybe,
maybe it was just
live up to
maybe it was just father.
Something.
Well, no, maybe it was just
I don't know if it was
misguided father worship.
Necessarily that, but then he saw the attention that his father got from that lifestyle, or from being that type of person. He's on TV.
Yeah,
everybody knows who my dad was. But, like, I'm going to do this.
But I've made millions.
It's like the guy that killed Lennon.
He
just wanted to be known as the guy who killed Lennon.
He had an escape plan. It was not I'm going in, guns blaring.
No,
I'm going to go out of this world with fucking bang.
His plan.
He was
his
trying.
plan
he had
was
a plan
to
to get the hell out of there.
Yeah. Otherwise, you wouldn't have cameras set up to see when people are coming.
If he was the dude, if he was involved at all.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
they'll know.
Like, this could be just a really nice story that someone made up about this guy.
And it could be something even more insidious.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's other people involved.
Oh, yeah, no, that's just it. I guarantee you there's other parties involved.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why, like we were saying, that it's come out that, like, number one, reporters and media organizations have filed lawsuit against the police, against the state, against the feds, all kinds of stuff to release documents.
Results in anything. It never does. It never will.
Well, Freedom of Information Act can get you a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but but stuff like this, they hold it, they block it out. JFK stuff we just got recently.
Well, yeah.
But
we still don't know who killed him.
That's
never.
Yeah.
Even though we assume it was the mob and the CIA.
Yeah. Well, there were
forces.
We're kind of getting off tangent, but there was countries that wanted Kennedy dead. So,
exactly. Yeah.
There was hundreds of thousands of people that probably wanted him dead.
I don't know. Maybe it was like the 5 attempts on Castro's life. There you go.
And he died natural causes.
He sure did.
Unbelievable.
Oh, man.
What a lucky guy.
Yeah. His security detail was the best.
Yeah.
These kids are born into security.
Well, and that's just it. With disclosure, with stuff like that, with government things, like I was saying with the funds, it takes a long time for that shit to get freed up, and it's fucking horrifying, dude. Like, there are people that are hurt. There are people that need, like you, that I'm sure need physical therapy, or stuff like that.
Or just, like, the opportunity to even just talk about it like we're kind of doing right now.
Actually, they're paying for counseling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I get free counseling.
That's great.
It's like $5,000 worth of that stuff.
Do you take advantage of that?
Oh, yeah, we go all the time, every week.
Good.
Actually, we went the day after. Our counselor, we already went to a counselor, so
Okay.
he found out, he called us up. Come on in.
Nice.
But they're paying.
Yeah.
It's free, man.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Because, I mean...
And medical so much of the medical gets paid.
That's
I don't have to.
It was
pay
really
for
nice
anything.
what Trump did for those people. He came here and went to UMC Hospital to visit with the people that were in that tragedy.
Yeah, that were
That
wounded.
was really nice.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do that, but you know, as a president, that was good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
one
and-
shining thing that.
Yeah,
I
let's
say
let's give him a little bit of
about it.
credit.
Well, I mean, hey.
You know, he was my choice, but hey,
Okay,
you know,
well,
he
Wouldn't
did a
mind.
good job.
a couple of weeks later, he's throwing paper towels at Puerto Rico. So.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say,
saying those people.
Yeah.
I was going to say
those people.
to the point of like how we just like move on. It's like okay, and then the next day Trump said something stupid, and then that's all that matters.
And suddenly,
And then-
all of this is gone.
yeah.
All of this is gone.
And
All
now-
you need,
and now
all
what
you
happened
need
in
is
Hawaii,
a week.
that's
All
what
you need
matters.
is a
And then
week of
it's like-
Trump tweets,
Yeah.
and all of this is
I'll
gone.
be honest. I mean, if we're going to talk about that a little bit, my wife's a Trumpeteer too.
My girlfriend too.
Yeah. But and I'm in the beginning. I was like, okay, he's
Which
the
is
he's
interesting.
the president,
Which
so I'm
is
gonna root for the
interesting
guy,
because-
and he'd have like a good couple days.
Please-
of like,
please
okay, he got it together. I
please
don't have to
explain
worry
to
about
people
fucking
the
button
hair-
anymore. And then I see a tweet like, fuck, he's hitting the button tomorrow, man.
Please explain
He's
to
going
people
after
the
this.
heritage of your wife.
Oh, she's Ecuadorian, so I mean, she really actually comes from a communist country. So
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
but a Trump supporter.
Yeah. That's the question mark right there.
Well,
I'm
she's
sure
only
Ken-
one in her family, but
And I'm sure Kenneth has
but she's
many
a country girl too.
conversations.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
We into the night. What are you really, honey? Why?
we just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Because Ecuadorians
Well, and-
don't like Mexicans.
But it's just
I know. So they're like, block them out.
well,
Hell yeah!
Yeah. They don't like Mexico.
well, and I can't tell you how many people that are.
Yeah.
that
Oh,
are-
yeah. That's fighting words
Yeah.
right there, man.
It's like calling a Mexican Puerto Rican, or calling a Puerto Rican Mexican. Like they are distinct cultures. They're distinct things, and to lump them all together in one lump sum is
Well, and there's two types of Mexicans too.
yeah, absolutely.
Mexicans and Mexicans. Sorry, I grew up with that joke.
That was good.
But I really do think that, especially with this election, it showed the fact that we as a country have gotten to a point of such utter division for the sake of division. For the sake of placing blame on a party or placing blame on a person, whether it was Obama wasn't born in America, or he's just. And he said it himself. My administration is a phone. My power is in the phone and a pen.
And it's in both parties too. I mean, I
Absolutely.
turn on the news. And
Absolutely.
They're like, oh well, the Democrats aren't aren't going to let the budget. The government's going to close. Blame the Democrats because they're not cooperating with us. Everybody blames, and the Democrats blame the Republicans for this.
Yeah, and it's a means by which to keep people
I
off
remember.
kilter.
I mean, maybe it was just because I was younger, and that's the way that I perceived it. But it just seemed like, even though shit would take a long time, they would eventually come up with a compromise, and then that was the whole point of it. You compromise because there's obviously more than two types of people in America. But
Life is all about compromising.
yeah, exactly.
It is.
You can,
It
not
is.
everybody can have it one way.
From the youngest man in the room.
Yeah.
And explain that for us. Explain what you mean. Life is all about compromise, Matt.
Well, life is not utopia. You're never going to get everything the way you want it, when you want it, how you want it. You gotta, and you have to be understanding of other people and what they need and what they want and everything else. Like, you got to live together. You got to sacrifice a little bit.
Yeah. It is that pull for the greater good and that concept of it.
Today I help you, and tomorrow you help me. And
Yeah.
then the next day we party together, and it's great.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of yin and yang. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, that really what he said, that kind of represents that. There's always going to be a give and take. You know, if you want to live a balanced, happy life, there's always going to be a give and take.
You know, actually, the town Milwaukee. No.
We've gotten very off topic here.
I know.
But it's cool.
Let's talk about aliens now. The aliens. There's one person here in Nevada that will speak all about that. He works for the Las Vegas Weekly. I mean, the Review Journal and the Weekly. George Knapp. George Knapp knows all about that.
Yeah.
Let's call up George Knapp, man. That's the guest we need right there.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a different episode.
Good call.
When we talk about...
Because that's it. I literally, before everybody, like while I was finishing up work and waiting for people in the room to come in and rehearse, I was going through like guests, like who do I want for 2018? You know, because like my big thing right now is getting. I talked to a lawyer friend of mine from high school who's going to be like our law correspondent. So whenever like new stuff's happening, you know, we can talk to a criminal defense attorney, you know, that kind of stuff. Having somebody in charge of like science and technology that we can talk to that's like an expert in their field. We had a guest on that's like a VR programmer, that kind of stuff. So
moving up, dude.
Doing that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, I know of George Knapp and why George Knapp did, because like Gerald Celente hit my list for economics and trends. That kind of stuff. So I'm definitely going to go
your
for George
entertainment
Knapp.
correspondent so I can get credentials and just go to fucking events and ask
Can I be your fantasy football correspondent?
stupid questions.
Actually, that is not a bad idea, man.
Yeah, that would be fucking sweet. Dude.
Yeah?
You're the sports
Okay.
guy. He's the sports.
Okay.
Well,
I know.
What's
No.
up? Today I'm going to take that jet
Let's
with
talk.
plus 14.
Let's talk, brother. Give
What's
it.
what's the
Give it
Asian
up.
guy's name? That's the physicist that does the circuit.
Michikaku.
He's coming here to UNLV
Hey,
on the 20th.
hey, I know you.
We're fine.
I know you. Get me Michio Kaku.
Dude,
Hook
free.
me up with Michio
It's
Kaku.
free.
I know you. I know you'll be there. I know the suave that
Who is Michio? Who is this? I'm sorry.
Michio Kaku is like one of the world-renowned
Physicist.
astrophysicists, like, you know, string theory, strange energies, stuff like that.
Like Neil Dyson.
Like Neil deGrasse Tyson,
Yeah.
but on crack. like talking about just strange forces in the universe, things like that.
We're not insinuating he uses crack, but-
No, much more theoretical physics, that kind of stuff. Neil deGrasse Tyson is much more straight an astrophysicist, whereas this guy's like theoretical physics, like what could be.
All right.
You know, from what we know. Which, by the way, speaking of Neil deGrasse Tyson, get ready, folks. There is actually a second season of Cosmos coming out with Neil deGrasse Tyson, which was great.
Yeah.
Which was great. That was bomb. I grew up watching Cosmos on PBS, and to see it relaunched with one of my favorite scientists was absolutely incredible.
I didn't know it was, you know, relaunch.
Yeah,
Whatever
yeah.
you wanna
No,
call it.
originally it was Carl Sagan.
Yeah.
It was Carl Sagan originally that did Cosmos. Billions and billions of stars. You know, in Cosmos.
My favorite theory now is the black
But yeah,
hole.
it was in like, but it was the same thing. Like where Neil deGrasse Tyson is in his spaceship and like going.
You're like, oh, I see.
That's what like Carl Sagan like sat down in the chair and it was like, whoosh, like you took off. But it was like Carl Sagan was like, here's my blazer and my turtleneck and my sweet ass fucking Sonny Bono haircut. You know, like
He was Andy Warhol of freaking.
he was Andy Warhol of astronomy. That's a real good way to put it, dude. That's exactly what he looked like. That was the exact look. Just instead of bleach blonde, it was brown.
Before we leave, you have to download some content for me,
Well, I
so
haven't thought of
I have
that in
something to
years.
watch on my plane ride home.
Okay. But, you know, talking about we're talking about UFOs. Well, that's how we started this episode, was talking about government disclosure, how the government goes about disclosing things. And, you know, like I said, they just disclosed at Christmas that $1.4 trillion has been spent over the last decade researching unknown aerial phenomena over U.S. airspace across the world.
Oh, that's Google.
You know,
Just Google it. There's so fine marvel shit.
It's just Google.
and,
The government could easily come out and just be like, "Oh no, it's just Google."
I want to get. I wish I had. I got one of those Google, Ask Google devices.
Oh, yeah?
Google.
Yeah, Google Home.
Yeah, whatever it's called. So, there was that clip back at the old, what was it, the Amazon.
Yeah.
You would ask it, you work for the CIA, and it would just power down.
Yeah.
Like it's trying to avoid. So I was like, I'm going to ask this thing. But they have a politically correct answer. They say, in no way are we affiliated or we share data with the government unless.
But my favorite with Alexa is if you ask Alexa, open the pod bay doors. It tells you, I'm sorry, Dave, I can't do that.
I'm going to do that.
It gives you the straight up 2001 answer. I'm sorry. But I think it uses your actual name if I'm not. It's been a long time since I did it. But I think it might use the actual name that's registered to the account. Like, I'm sorry, Chris. I can't do that.
I
Total 2001. It's great.
I believe there's got to be something.
There's
got to be something out there.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But there's no way any government, unless some fucking spaceship, should what was that movie? They invaded 4th of July, Independence Day.
Oh, Independence Day.
They just
Great
showed all
movie,
these big
man.
cities.
Houston, first city destroyed. I was in the theater watching it.
Will Smith from Philly.
The day that it was destroyed in the movie, I was in the theater watching it. But we all kind of looked at each other and went, wonder what's happening outside.
It's like the scene from from Austin Powers when they're blowing up Washington. The guys think it's actually happening.
Yeah,
that's funny.
But there's no way the government would ever, even if they knew. I mean, can you imagine all the crazies with guns? How many more guns they're going to buy? Oh, aliens are real. Fuck those.
It's stock up, dude.
I'll tell you what, though. If
shit.
they said aliens were real, I guarantee you,
your gun ain't
every
doing
culture
shit.
would come together because they have a new enemy to hate.
Yeah.
They don't have to hate each other no more. They're going to have something else to hate.
That's already been said. You know who
Ronald
that was
Reagan.
said by? Ronald Reagan.
Wouldn't it be something if one day a force from outside our world came
and united
and
us
the
all.
whole world came together?
Then
To
color
meet
would
them.
not matter.
And color
Nothing
would not
would
matter.
matter.
That was the whole Star Wars speech, I think.
So, it's been proposed.
Well,
And
they got a thing with all these world leaders going to Antarctica. Why would the Pope have to go to Antarctica?
because Antarctica is the fucking jam, bro.
I remember seeing something on-
Interestingly enough,
It's full of sinners.
the Vatican about 15, 20 years ago basically just took over a mountaintop in Arizona and built an observatory. And granted, there's the observatory at there's the observatory at Castel Gandolfo just outside of Italy. It was right up the road, right up the dormant volcano from the campus that I studied at. We went up there all the time, but that's the Pope's summer palace. It's also the official Vatican observatory. And a good decade ago, the Vatican came out and said that were extraterrestrials to be found, that it would in no way, shape, or form conflict with doctrine of the Catholic Church, with the doctrine of creation, anything. And when, the official Vatican astronomer comes out and says that shit...
Yeah, he came out and said, I'm like,
what
the heck?
Get ready for some shit.
Yeah, it's getting ready to happen.
Man,
that announcement from NASA,
straight up from the Vatican.
Oh, we're looking for some people to defend our world.
Yeah.
Dude, you can't get no more and then the news ran the story. I'm like, you can't get no more plainer than that.
Yeah. We're actively recruiting for the U.S. Space Corps.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
That lets you know, right?
The soft revealing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, but the thing is, though, and what people don't understand is that when they're talking about in Congress approving the U.S. Space Corps, that means the concept is not fucking new, ladies and gentlemen. It has been developed for the last 10 to 15 years. Like, it's just like applying for a patent. You got to have a working concept. You got to show that it works. You ain't going to go before Congress without showing the fact that this shit works to get funding. So that means that the idea amongst various people like Lockheed Martin, the people who are a good shooter here in Las Vegas, worked for at one point in special projects, people like that have already been working on this stuff. They've already been working on vehicles. They've already been working on suits. Yep. They've already been testing this shit in private so that when it comes time, look, we've got a working model. We can make it happen within the next decade.
How many times have you heard that?
That's a military timeline.
Already have people on Mars.
Yeah. Well, there
already there.
Yeah, there was a guy that came out and said that he served in the military Space Corps.
Yeah.
And there was actually an article, if I'm not mistaken, in the New York Times. If you go and search, it was a guy that hacked supposedly into NASA computers and released all kinds of information, including the fact that there was a military Space Corps, people with active ranks, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that guy, I forget his name, but
yeah,
but he. They tried to disprove him, like he didn't work at this place. And the news media said, oh, we called where he's supposed to work at. They say they have no records on him. But yet, he's in a paper article with his picture at the facility.
At the facility.
They're like, so this didn't happen either?
Yeah. How about this news article here?
Yeah, we have a news article
that
he's talking about propulsion systems.
That was in the 90s where it was talking about a military, basically a group of space marines, like a military space corps that would launch up and observe. And
I'm sorry, but space marines.
That is straight up Starship Trooper.
That's my next band name. No one else can take that. The Space Marines.
Space Marines.
That is awesome. So that's mine. Continue. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Well, the Space Marines. I mean, I don't think it's to prevent against aliens. I think it's to fight the Nazi threat that moved to the moon.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
The Nazis that colonized the moon.
Yeah.
Have you seen Men on High Castle?
No.
Or Man from High Castle? Or
Yeah. Yeah, Man from the High Castle.
That's a weird.
It's interesting. It's a Philip K. Dick work. Philip K. Dick also has a brand new series on Amazon Prime, Electric Dreams, which is very along the lines of. It's his stories that were along the lines of like Outer Limits, Twilight Zone type shit. But yeah, the novel Man in the High Castle basically puts forth the concept that the U.S. did not win the Second World War, and that the Axis powers won, and that the U.S. is divided into three zones. The East Zone is basically taken over by the Nazis. The West Zone is basically taken over by Japan, and then there's a demilitarized zone, the Resistance Zone in the middle. And it's.
That's where all the conflict that's been over the past 60, 70 years is right in the middle of the planet.
Interesting things with stuff like that, now that you look at it, like I was saying earlier, with our recent election and stuff, we've literally come to the point where over the election, families don't talk to each other. We are to the as a country and as families, to the closest point that we've been to the Civil War since the Civil War.
I can see that.
Where brothers and brothers don't agree. The fathers and brothers don't agree within the same household. They don't hold the same belief system, stuff like that. And it's led to conflagration. It's led to this stuff. And it's becoming a normalized means of society. So, what do we do to change that?
Yeah, I know it goes back to does life imitate art, or does art imitate life? So I mean, I think it goes both ways, because you see on the TV, people aren't getting along, people can't compromise, people can't live together because there's so much conflict, and then that just kind of bleeds over into households.
Well, and then there's
people
just
that used to get along don't get along.
There's the whole concept of cognitive dissonance also, where quite literally your brain goes into 3 modes. It's fight, flight, or freeze. And when you hear information that is specifically opposing to the paradigm in which you've chosen to live in your brain, even if it's fact, you choose to either fly away from it and say, no, that doesn't exist, it's not real, or to fly toward it, rather, to fight against it, or to just freeze and be non-decisive about the information given. And that's a huge thing that we talk about a lot on this podcast, and a lot that's happening a lot in society, where people just no longer know how to process information and how to just absorb fact and then obtain an opinion from fact instead of obtaining an opinion from opinion.
Well, I mean...
Yeah, and on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Maurice McCoy, for being here. Yeah. Thank you so much, Shannon, and as well as Matthew McPeak and our good friend Ken Dewar. We're going to wrap up this episode of Dudes and Beer live from Vegas. We had a great night talking with you guys. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Shannon. It was so moving. We had some great comments from Dean and from Steven about it. Feel free to go on and check out his video on Facebook. Just to see what we were talking about. While you're on the internet, please feel free to check us out on dudesandbeer.com. Also, check out our parent network, HCUniversalNetwork.com, for many, many podcasts.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Dudes and Beer
Be good
podcast.
at it, folks.
To listen to our audio streams and chat with us live, download the official Dudes and Beer app for both Android and iDevices, available on the Google Play and iTunes markets. For more episodes, content, and information, visit us online at dudesandbeer.com. You can also find our episodes on Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast service. Thanks for listening, everybody, and until next time, drink responsibly.